standing for the singing of the national anthem by the Duke Ellington School of the Arts 11th grader, Robert Alston III.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We will now have an invocation by Pastor Keith Bird, pastor of Zion Baptist Church.
You may be seated. Good evening. Let us pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. God, our Creator, we come to you this evening to invoke your presence in the midst of your people and before the leadership of our city, because you are the maker of every path, and all paths lead to you. Therefore, we need you tonight to guide us, to guide our leaders, and to guide our mayor on your path. On this, her inaugural State of the District address, as she lays out the vision for our city, guide her along the path that you have set, such that it may be a path of justice, a path of equality, a path of humility, respect, and compassion. We know you are a prayer-answering God, so make us a God-hearing people. In the name of God, who is our Creator, who is able to keep each and every one of us from falling, we offer this prayer, and I offer it in the name of my Savior and my Sovereign, Jesus, who is the Christ, by whose authority I stand. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend. Today, we inherit past successes and failures and overdue promises. But most of all, we inherit the great expectations of a deserving people.
We are Washington, D.C., Chuck. The residents of Washington, D.C. deserve full democracy and statehood. We wouldn't be talking about lawsuits or shutting down the government when the Congress can't figure it out. So we're going to set a pragmatic way to amp up our federal presence and forge a new path. Voters of the District of Columbia were very clear in what they wanted to approve: home use, home growth by adults. On January 14th, I signed an executive order renaming the Summer Youth Program the Marion S. Berry Summer Youth Employment Program. I've been in every neighborhood in the District of Columbia talking about how we will continue the prosperity of our city. So as mayor, you have my commitment in everything that we do, from the development projects we support to the businesses we try to attract, to making sure that we're looking for good paying jobs for DC residents. Between February 19th and the 23rd, I will host a series of budget engagement forums that will give you an opportunity to shape our city's budget priorities.
I know. I like this thing.
So making investments in early childhood education will help pave the way for these children to make their way to the middle class. This call to action is to communities who've said we want to end the scourge of family homelessness and be welcoming and supportive of interventions that work. A new stadium will benefit more residents and spur more economic opportunity in the district. And will faithfully discharge the duties of the Mayor of the District of Columbia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we welcome the District of Columbia's Mayor, Muriel Bowser.
Thank you, everybody, and good evening, please. Isn't it great to be in this beautiful theater in the District of Columbia? And good evening, my fellow Washingtonians. I'm here tonight, humbled and proud to be your mayor. It's an honor to have this opportunity to deliver the 2015 State of the District Address. Today, I'm pleased to report that the district is strong and growing stronger. We are one of the strongest economies in the country. We are the economic engine of this region, accounting for 1/4 of the job market, and in the last year, over 2/3 of the private sector job growth. Yes. We are, too, the #1 tech hotspot and among the top 10 cities for venture capital investment. Forbes magazine even says we're the coolest. Wall Street knows our city finances are strong, and this year increased our bond rating. That's a good news too. We are a top U.S. city for construction, top 10 most walkable city in the U.S., #2 fittest city, but we'll catch you, Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're #1 in the U.S. for attracting entrepreneurial founders of companies, and the #2 best paying U.S. city for women. We are the home to the best new restaurant in America, and we are the top 5 best U.S. cities to come and vacation. So no wonder why we're one of the fastest growing cities in the country. Big cities like the District of Columbia have world-class schools and parks and libraries. They are home to vibrant cultural institutions that highlight the arts and entertainment. We are making strides in these areas too. But we all know that there's room to improve. We face in our city historic economic inequality with tragic rates of homelessness. Too many of our residents can't afford to continue to live in their own neighborhoods. Our schools are not yet good enough, and our transit system isn't reliable or safe enough. And as good as our finances are, we're heading into the next fiscal year, starting this October. We face a $200 million budget gap. We know that it's tougher and tougher for many people to start down and stay on the pathway to the middle class. When my parents bought a home, and they're here tonight, Joan and Joe Bowser, good to see you. They bought a simple 3-bedroom home in 1960 in Ward 5's North Michigan Park. They could afford to do so on 2 modest government salaries. Growing up in that middle-class household meant that we had food in the fridge, new clothes at the start of the school year, and money in our pocket to go to the movies or a vacation every now and then. Growing up middle class meant that my siblings and myself, we didn't always have everything we wanted, but we always had everything we needed. So back in 1960, when my parents bought their home, the average home in D.C. cost, get this, about $15,000. That was only 3 times the average family income. Today, the median home value tops $500,000, and that's 6 times the average family income. If we're going to be a city where families can stay and grow, we must do more to create opportunity for them. Creating opportunity means, that's right, taking the steps every day to improve the quality of life for residents of the District of Columbia. Creating opportunity means economic development that makes life easier and more convenient while preserving the rich heritage that makes D.C. so unique. And it means promoting the arts and those cultural institutions that will continue to make it so. It means being able to take a walk or wait for a bus without concern for your safety. It also means access to the modes of transportation that you need to get to and from your daily life. And it means neighborhoods that welcome all district residents, whether they've been here 5 minutes like some or 5 generations like the Bowser family. Sometimes it means just getting out of the way, especially for small businesses, so they can get to work. But it always means creating pathways to the middle class. Now, you may have heard me say the following 2 words. In fact, I know you have. Fresh start. And some have called it a catchy slogan. Others have embraced it on social media. And no matter what you think of it, I can assure you it's a promise that I will fulfill. I believe, that's good. I believe it is critical that we walk forward together, proud of all the things that we have accomplished and where we stand, yet step away from the shadows that haunt our past. We achieve this and uphold the public's trust by doing what we say we will do, being responsive to what residents want and demand, and striving always to be open and transparent. You have my commitment that my administration understands that integrity is paramount, and we are forever grateful to those who came before us. We're always committed to the residents who rely on us, not just today, but every single day. On the campaign trail last year, for the last 2 years, I told you that a Bowser administration would reflect your values and beliefs. I told you that we, the 660,000 residents of the District of Columbia, believe in education reforms that guarantee every child a quality seat, no matter her zip code or her parents' tax graph. I believe, and I know you do, in housing that is safe, clean, and affordable. We believe in health care for all. We believe in marriage equality, a sustainable DC, a level playing field for women, African Americans, Latinos, and DC residents of every background and belief. We believe that taxation without representation is fundamentally undemocratic. And we know that corruption at any level is unacceptable in our city. And we believe that the government has a duty to ensure a fair and equal pathway to the middle class. Last year, I promised you that as mayor, I would wake up every day humbled, energized, and motivated to do the little things and the big things needed to pursue our shared beliefs and make the district the greatest city in the world. To put it another way, I promised you that ours would be a government that would create opportunity and do so decisively. And for the last 89 days, this government has been working doggedly to deliver on that promise. So I walked the halls of Congress and the White House. I entered into an agreement with the Prince George's and Montgomery County executives to focus on regional housing affordability and an end to homelessness. I've traveled to Austin, Texas to sell our tech community and to New York City to achieve a better bond rating. I've hosted the mayors of Mexico City and of Paris. I've made big asks of billionaires and hosted foreign investors. I met with big labor, big utilities, big business to make the pitch for DC jobs for DC residents. And as the sports capital, we will continue to meet with the biggest sports guys and gals, right, Jack? Absolutely. So that they know that DC is ready to host the 2018 MLB All-Star Game. And perhaps a Super Bowl one Sunday. We will do all of this while keeping in mind that this is your city and your government. We work for you. You do not just get a seat at the table in a Bowser administration. We know that you are the table. But I think John Dewey said it best. He said this. He said, the cobbler may know how to fix the shoes, but only the wearer knows where it pinches. So when it came to cobbling together my first budget, I wanted to hear from you on the front end. And that is why we've hosted hundreds of residents from all 8 wards in budget engagement forums. More than 2,300 of you, employees, residents, gave us fresh ideas about how to spend your tax dollars to create opportunity. The budget I will submit to our friends at the council will reflect your input and priorities. It will also reflect the looming $200 million budget gap that will require some tough decisions in order to pave the way to the middle class and allow those who need it the most to prosper. Dr. King challenged us to develop a kind of dangerous unselfishness. We will do that by giving a little more to create and preserve affordable housing, to care for our homeless neighbors, and to invest in safe and reliable transportation, to get residents to work, school, and keep visitors coming to the District of Columbia. We will do that by making Black Lives Matter, more than just a hashtag. We will take concrete steps like investing in and creating opportunity for those students who are falling behind. Creating opportunity, in particular for our youngest residents, is a driving focus of our administration. That starts with our infants and toddlers, and that's why we launched the Early Childhood Learning Quality Improvement Network, to ensure that those who care for our babies meet national standards. We have the fastest improving urban school district in the nation. We should congratulate our chancellor, our teachers, our staff, and our officials who are standing strong for school reform. But we know we also need to increase the pace of reform. Nowhere is this more necessary than in our middle schools. That's why in the next year's budget, we will spend $15 million to support our middle school students with more extracurricular activities, summer programming, and international travel. We will create a state-of-the-art middle school in Petworth at the former McFarland. And next fall, the school building that I attended as a kindergartner will reopen in Ward 5 as the Brookland Middle School. And whether you go to McFarland or Murch or Maya Angelou, your child will ride free on the bus or rail because of our commitment to make it just a little easier on our families. And that's why beginning this school year, parents will have predictability and consistency and a clear path from pre-K to graduation, thanks to long overdue boundary realignments. We take these steps because we know that when children succeed, we all succeed. For our older students, we have to turn the corner at UDC and align our community college with the careers that will yield pathways to good-paying jobs and to the middle class. Last week, I announced the creation of the LEAP Academy. The Academy is born from a simple idea. We will train district residents to work in the district government. The district employs hundreds of workers to maintain our buildings and keep our fleet of vehicles road ready. The Academy will serve as a conduit for motivated district residents to enter the workplace in a good, steady job and begin down the pathway to the middle class, all while providing you with first-class city services. Exposing youth to work prepares them for jobs as an adult. That's why I announced an additional $5 million in funding to expand the Marion S. Berry Summer Youth Employment Program. The program will now serve young people ages 22 to 24. Creating employment opportunities means rethinking our workforce development investments. Did you know that our creative economy generates over $19 billion to the local economy annually? We should be more creative in how we think about investing in the arts so that we're retaining and developing a creative workforce that not only provides revenue and jobs, but that sustains the district as a cultural capital. We all know that the streetcar has been a long promise program. It's been long on promises and short on results. But tonight we pledge that that changes now. I promise you that we will get the streetcar along 8th Street and Benning Road up and running. Then we will extend the line to downtown Ward 7 so that Councilmember Alexander's constituents can get from Benning Road to H Street to Union Station and eventually all the way to Georgetown. Earlier this month, we announced a new technology partnership with Howard University that will, some Howard grads out here? That will bolster our efforts to support our growing technology and innovation sectors by addressing the needs of startups and entrepreneurs in D.C. We've also brokered an agreement between labor and our soccer team so that Unite Here and DC United will come together to make sure that not only will we have a new soccer stadium with the support of our taxpayers, but we will also have good paying jobs. Because we know that when we stand with our brothers and sisters in labor so that they can succeed, then we all succeed. You saw my friend John Boardman in the video, and he may not know this, but he introduced me to a woman named Juanita King. And meeting Juanita King changed my life. I caught the bus with Juanita. I cleaned rooms with Juanita at the Marriott Marquis. And it cemented in me the notion that every economic development dollar this government spends must lead to good paying jobs. In the coming year, we are committed to this goal. We will look for new opportunities to get D.C. residents, including returning citizens, on the job, whether it's by way of our largest infrastructure projects or by creating incentives to attract and retain businesses, large and small. We will make, in this commitment, first-time capital investments to reinvigorate Upper Georgia Avenue at Walter Reed and to spur development at Hill East. We will experiment with our RFP, a new endeavor to give the community the first opportunity to shape development. We will try it first right down the street at Parcel 42 in Shaw. We will support vibrancy in historic Anacostia by reimagining and redeveloping the Gateway at MLK and Good Hope Road. Just this week, I announced our intention to redevelop a huge government-owned parcel right at that very important intersection. And we will ensure that our small businesses are given a fair shot to compete for work on all of this development that's moving in our city. Your government is hard at work to give everyone a fair shot. We are active participants in President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative to narrow the achievement gap that is too pervasive in America today. Late last year, I invited a group of 100 boys to take the Audacity of Hope challenge. The participants were challenged to read President Obama's book and to examine how they can each improve themselves by improving their communities. Each time I meet with the participants, I'm struck by their tenderness and their desire to be engaged. They are not as tough as they think they are. They're not even as tough as you think they are. What they are looking for is a pathway. What they are looking for are caring adults to show them the way. They are not looking for a handout, but a hand up. And earlier today, I announced a partnership that will guarantee 100 students in the Audacity of Hope Challenge year-round internships in businesses throughout our city. Now that's a fresh start. And tomorrow, I'm excited to say that I will announce the first ever Deputy Mayor for Greater Economic Opportunity. The deputy mayor will be charged with creating solutions to improve outcomes for residents who face challenges to enter the workforce and start their way on the path to the middle class. Because we know that when they succeed, we all succeed. Being mayor of my hometown is the greatest job in the world and the greatest honor. We are a city on the move, and we have our share of challenges, but many of the decisions have been easy in the last 89 days. Like standing up for marriage equality, as we did by urging the Supreme Court to end marriage discrimination nationwide. Like deciding not to send any district employees to Indiana because we always, where's Grasso? Grasso's absolutely right. Because we know that when we stand with the LGBTQ community, we won't sit by. We stand in our city, and we won't stand by while other cities discriminate against the LGBTQ community. We stand with dreamers who deserve a chance to succeed. And we also join hands with our Congresswoman and our fighter on the Hill to stand up to the bullies like Congressman Andy Harris of Maryland's 1st District, who seek to undermine the will of D.C. voters. And I think I can say this for the Congresswoman: we won't stop until we achieve statehood. Thank you. We will stand together for the district's right to spend its dollars. As a council member, I supported Phil Mendelson's efforts for budget autonomy. And as mayor, I stand with him, the council, and the 83% of DC voters who approved the referendum. Because when we stand together, we will succeed. I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish together, and I'm excited about what more we will do together to create opportunities for all 8 wards. In one way or another, much of what we will do will be linked to my first budget, which I will deliver to the council, balanced, this week. I've already mentioned the budget deficit that we're facing. And simply put, we came into the office with a budget deficit of about $250 million. That deficit means that we will have to make tough decisions about which programs to fund, which to cut, and whether to raise taxes. I challenged my budget team to look for savings, to trim only those programs that could withstand it, and I tasked them to do more with less. This is what we have in store. So this year, we're adding an additional $32 million for DCPS in our public charter schools to keep pace with growing demand. Our public school system will enroll 2,000 more students this year. We're growing. We're making capital investments in our DC public schools so students can be comfortable, engaged, and inspired. These investments will do much to improve educational outcomes for our students. Unfortunately, the prospects of success for many students are poor. For instance, by 4th grade, nearly 50% of Black and Latino males are reading below grade level. We know we have to do a better job engaging these students and accelerating the pace of academic achievement so that they have an equal chance of being successful in college, career, and in life. They aren't failing themselves. We are failing them. To address this failing, in my first month in office, I stood with Chancellor Henderson, and we announced a $20 million initiative to empower young boys and men of color. We will also launch an all-male public high school that will focus on the academic success of these boys. Council members David Grasso and Kenya McDuffie were bold, courageous, and right to recognize that 8 years of education reform has moved our boys too slowly. And Attorney General Carvey Singh knows the importance of this effort and has those students' backs, just like we all do, regardless of whether the challenge comes from within or beyond. When we thank him. We need you involved as well. And that's why we launched the 500 for 500, an effort to recruit mentors to participate in the Empowering Males of Color initiative. We are very proud to say that we're 2/3 of the way there, which means we have 1/3 of the way to go. And students have been matched with a mentor to improve their literacy skills and enhance their sense of self-worth. And there is more we can and will do. Last year, the council approved unanimously the creation of the at-risk student formula. Not an equal student funding formula, but a formula to give the schools with the most kids facing the most challenges the resources necessary so they can succeed. Now, this year, Chancellor Henderson fully implemented the council's plan, and the budgets reflect that. If we're going to move the needle, we cannot poke holes in this funding. Last year, I introduced legislation that allows students to ride free on Metro Bus, which saves families with 2 kids $720 a year. We know that those savings go a long way to help families make the rent, pay for field trips, or even buy a family computer. More families could benefit from Kids Ride Free if it were extended to Metro Rail. And we know that we should change that. Because when those families succeed, we all succeed. We know, too, that creating opportunities to attain pathways to the middle class means that we have to invest more in affordable housing. The Housing Production Trust Fund is the district's primary tool for creating and preserving affordable housing at a variety of income levels. I made a commitment last year that if elected mayor, the Housing Production Trust Fund would be budgeted at $100 million every single year. And I'm proud to say that we will deliver on that promise. I know we will, because the at-large council member for housing, that's what I call her, Anita Bonds, is going to fight for it. I know that NKOTB, you know what that means, the New Kids on the Block, that's what I call them. Alyssa Silverman and Brianne Nadeau and Charles Allen, they're going to stand up for that $100 million and fight for it. Isn't that right? New Kids on the Block? Part of that effort will entail a genuine commitment to new communities. I spent a great deal of time as council member shining a light on the failings of that program. Now I pledge to you to redouble my efforts to get it right. Today, the district's Interagency Council on Homelessness finalized a plan to end homelessness by making it rare, brief, and non-recurring. And with the council's support, of our homeless funding plan, we will deliver on another promise: ending family homelessness by 2018 and chronic homelessness by 2025 in the District of Columbia. And you told me, Bowser, DC General is no place to raise a child. And we will, with your support, close DC General once and for all. Now, I've tasked Brenda, Laura, and Christy with a hefty task. I have. But they can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. We need your help. Closing DC General means this: producing small, safe, attractive, transitional and emergency housing throughout the District of Columbia's all 8 wards. Longtime Boston Mayor Tom Menino, he used to say this, the true privilege of being mayor is that I have the opportunity to be everybody's neighbor. And tonight, I extend that privilege to each and every one of you. And I challenge you to be more inclusive of those who need a hand up in every neighborhood of our city. Because we know when they succeed, we all succeed. We succeed too when we take steps to ensure a healthy population. The way the district has embraced President Obama's health care law is a model for the nation. Today, more than 93% of district residents have insurance, thanks to the president. And despite the fact that almost everybody has insurance, we're not as healthy as we should be. We succumb to heart disease, cancer, diabetes at rates higher than the national average, and I know we can do better. Preventative health should be a focus too, so I'm dedicating funds for the Joyful Markets, a partnership with nonprofits and schools that distributes free vegetables at pop-up markets in schools at the end of the month. And when a resident needs a hospital, one should be close to their community. And that's why I'm committed to investing in the only east of the river hospital. Make sure we have a state-of-the-art new hospital east of the river. And that is what I'm looking forward to working with you to accomplish. We want residents to lead active lifestyles, and I'm committed to investing more in the Metropolitan Branch Trail, and I'm looking at Leif as I say this. We're looking to investing in recreational facilities and in open spaces so that DC residents of all ages have opportunities to pursue a healthy lifestyle in ways that are convenient. To create opportunity requires us to make our streets safer. The safety and well-being of DC residents is my top priority, and FEMS, our Fire and Emergency Medical Service, is at the top of my list. Our fire and emergency services can do better. We are undertaking a top-to-bottom review of FEMS, and we found more than we thought we'd find, quite frankly. We have many more calls coming in, too many going unanswered. More than half of our ambulances were out of service, and equipment was rolled out without much training for our first responders. With the right leadership, we will change all of that. So we did a nationwide search and found a professional, collaborative leader from the other Washington in Seattle. He led a department with an international reputation for its fire-based EMS performance, and I am certain that Chief Gregory Dean will work with our brave men and women who are our first responders to move the department forward in ways that will give you more confidence and comfort in your homes. Chief Kathleen Lanier and her team at MPD are working hard to do that too. In the early 90s, the number of homicides in the district regularly topped 400 a year. Street gangs and open-air drug markets seemed to consume entire neighborhoods, and the violence grew to epidemic proportions. This was the era when the district was known as the murder capital of the world. But from 2008 to 2012, we reduced homicides by more than half to a level the district had not seen in nearly 50 years. And for the past 2 years, the annual number has remained below 100, an almost unimaginable notion back in 1991. Since 2008, we have reduced overall violent crime, and that includes homicide, assault with dangerous weapons, sex assault, and robbery by more than 18%. And when comparing the most recent 4 years to the first 4 years of the 90s, we have had 1,446 fewer homicides. Now, that's not just a number. That represents more than 1,400 lives saved and innumerable families and loved ones spared unnecessary tragedy and loss. But that's not enough. One homicide in this city is too many. This progress, however, did not occur overnight. It took many years and a concerted effort to implement an effective policing strategy for combating violent crime and rebuilding the relationship between the police and members of the community. Our progress on this front must continue, even in the face of a looming retirement bubble that will see us lose more officers each year than we can reasonably hire and train. We will increase the number of officers on the streets this year by making sure that more officers are retained and that the maximum number of officers are out on the streets, not doing desk jobs. So last October, MPD launched a pilot program to test the use of body cameras. And today I'm here to say that the pilot is over and that we will expand the use of body cameras to all MPD patrol officers in the next 18 months. It's the right thing to do for our officers and our residents. Accountability is embedded and will be embedded in everything this administration does. Accountability is why we are relaunching CapStat, a data-driven government efficiency and ultimately service delivery tool. It's a model that we once employed to great success, and it's time to get back to CapStatting, is what I like to say. We've already measured snow and trash removal efforts, and we know we need to make adjustments for next winter. That's true. Since becoming mayor, I still haven't found a way to make the snow not hit the ground. But after 24 deployments and 58,000 tons of salt spread all over the city, we have the frontline workers to thank for clearing the roads and hauling all of the waste in our alleys. And I want to thank our workers. So when it became apparent that the weather made us fall too far behind on collections, I called the leadership in management and labor into my office and charted a path forward. We declared all hands on deck, and with the help of our frontline workers and a few private haulers, we hauled over 1,000 tons of trash in a matter of 3 days. My commitment for the next season is that we will find efficiencies and borrow a few best practices, and we will for sure communicate better with residents about what we as a government can and will do. Our Office of the Chief Technology Officer will launch another new initiative, OpenDC, a web-based portal that will permit third-party developers access to government data. By doing so, we encourage not only transparency from our end, but also the development of innovative solutions to pressing district problems. So stay tuned for our first hackathon in May. We will celebrate innovation, not just the type that rewards you with love by swiping to the right or delivers a ride with a few taps. We will seek out innovation that makes life a little easier for a working mother trying to find social services or to use public transit. That's the same reason why we're building out an office dedicated to public and private partnerships that will lower the time and cost for procurements in the District of Columbia and give the district the expertise to work on complex projects so that public resources are used wisely. These programs represent a modern, results-oriented approach to good government. I'm convinced that by leveraging technology and business management strategies, we can improve service delivery and save money. We know that we can do more to advance positive outcomes to those that are economically disadvantaged, especially in our East River communities, because when all wards succeed, we succeed. So before we close tonight, we must acknowledge the job of keeping our streets safe is a shared responsibility. When it comes to snow response, we gather 20 agencies on a call at all hours of the night to devise our plan of attack, communicate how we will work together, and decide whether schools and government can operate. For too long, when an act of violence occurs that we know could lead to further acts, we have looked solely to the brave men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department to end the cycle of violence. In my administration, that approach will get a fresh start, and we call it the Community Stabilization Protocol. The protocol harnesses the energy and bandwidth of over a dozen agencies, from our MOKers. Do you know our MOKers? They're out in the communities every day. To the Department of Behavioral Health, to provide support to the families of victims and sometimes of suspects, to engage the community in finding a solution. In the hours after an incident, a multi-agency call is convened. Within 12 hours, a member of the Deputy City Administrator visits the family, and within 24 hours, a multi-agency team will visit the family and neighbors. And when necessary, a community meeting is held within 48 hours. This approach is too new to hold up as a success, but we are pleased with its progress thus far. Families of those affected by violence have been open to assistance. Communities have been engaged in the solution, and law enforcement has been able to interrupt the cycle of violence. I cannot stand before you tonight and claim to have all the answers to eradicate our toughest problems like senseless violence. But I can commit to you, as a government and as a city, we will experiment with new approaches to face them head on, and we will always seek solutions that engage and empower our residents. Tonight, I've spoken about the work we've done already to fulfill promises made, and I've detailed how we will continue to create opportunity in the coming months. And I've spoken about how this administration strives every day to be responsive, inclusive, and decisive. I've spoken about this government and that it belongs to you, and about how we're opening its doors to allow you better access. I want to come back to a point that I started with. Given our presence here in the historic Lincoln Theater and on the 150th anniversary of his assassination, it struck me as appropriate to invite you to an event that we're all proud of and we should all support in celebrating Emancipation Day in the District of Columbia. And let me thank Councilmember Vincent Orange for his leadership, for his energy, and for never letting us forget our history. Let me also offer you some words from the nation's 16th president. Abraham Lincoln said, "The legitimate object of government is to do for a community of people whatever they need to have done, but cannot do it all or cannot do so well for themselves." You elected me to do what needs to be done to create opportunity for you and your family, to blaze a path to the middle class, to improve schools, make our streets safer, and our population healthier. You know that I cannot do it alone. We want your help, and we need your help. We want you to be engaged. We want you to make demands of us, and we want you to hold us accountable. I began tonight by recalling some other promises I've made previously, and I'll end by making yet another one. Every day I wake up humbled and grateful that you have placed in me your trust, that you believe that I'll wake up every day to do the best job I can for the residents of the District of Columbia. I promise to live up to your expectations, to make yours a government that is open, accessible, transparent, and responsive to your needs. We pledge to make you proud, because when we succeed together, we all succeed as a great city. Thank you for being here tonight, and may God continue to bless the District of Columbia.